Well, for more on finance, we're joined by Rod North, Executive Director at Bourse Communications. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Now, the RBA will put out its minutes from its last monetary policy meeting in December. What's it likely to tell us?
Well, I think what you're going to see is that there's still a fair bit of softness in the Australian economy, and I think that was, again, sort of evidence yesterday. I mean, there's a lot of really relevant data out this week, and we saw yesterday the housing starts data come out, which actually declined 0.5% when the market was expecting an increase. And we also saw the ANZ job ads come out as well, and that's the sort of 10th consecutive month that job ads have fallen, and it's the lowest level for 3 years. So, you know, with the sort of soft economy, I mean, it's sort of bringing back into play, you know, whether, you know, the current cash rate, which is at 3%, because we saw that drop back in December, whether it's actually having the sort of improvement that the RBA was hoping for. And I mean, we also last week saw some pretty average retail sales figures for November. Obviously, the really important ones will be December. So I think it's sort of put back open that question of, well, it seems as if the Reserve Bank keeps lowering the rates, because we've seen the cash rate drop 1.75%, and you know, we're at the lowest levels, you know, even from the time during the GFC, that people are still not, you know, convinced that the economy's really sort of on the improve. People are not spending, they're really sort of saving, they're paying off debt. So I think it'll be very interesting to see, you know, the sort of thinking behind all of that from the RBA's point of view. But of course, we've really got to wait until next month, which will be the first month that the RBA meets for the year. A lot of sort of economists and other sort of major groups are sort of speculating we will see a further rate cut, but it's whether it will happen, you know, February or at some stage over the next few months. I think that's the $64,000 question.
In the meantime, what are you looking at? The job ads official figures coming out on Thursday. Is that something that you...
Yes, I mean, that is really, I suppose, the most key data for this week, because they're the official ABS data on what's going to happen, you know, with the outlook for employment going forward. And I mean, there is a feeling that perhaps 10,000 jobs may have been lost in December, which will put pressure on that rate, you know, moving up from 5.2 to 5.4, which of course, you know, really probably puts the government under a fair bit of pressure. I mean, there is also a fair bit of talk that that the employment rate could end up around 6%. I think it's the biggest concern we have. And then when you see, you know, people coming back to work yesterday, BlueScope Steel in Victoria being told that 170 jobs are being lost, you know, we really don't want to hear that news. And you know, unfortunately, I think there's going to be a bit more of that going forward until we really see the economy sort of kick, and perhaps rates have got to come down quite a bit more before people are convinced, you know, they need to see, you know, positive change in respect to their mindset about that. And you know, certainly that sort of happened in the US, but we haven't sort of seen it happen here. And I think that's going to be an essential ingredient to really seeing people convinced, yeah, we can start and spend, we can start and employ, we can start and do things.
What more can you tell us about Billabong and the latest takeover offer? Because there were 5 offers last year. What's happening?
It's been a bit of a saga, but it's a really interesting one because, of course, you know, the current bid at $1.10, you know, values the company at $527 million. I suppose if you're Billabong shareholders, it's the question of whether you see the outlook for that sector and retail improving over the next couple of years. And if you do, you probably want a higher price. If you don't, and you see that there's a lot of threat from other competition, you'd probably be pretty happy with $1.10. But I just don't think that saga's over yet, and I think they're probably going to want to see a much higher price than sort of $1.10. I think it's a good company. It's an icon, well regarded in Australia and highly sought after around the world. So I don't think we've seen that saga come to an end yet.
Rod North, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, coming up, we'll take a closer look at the racial tensions boiling over in one Brisbane